Good evening and welcome to Sunset News on this Sunday evening. As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather, and sports. I am Aina Kweo. In the news tonight, the Ministry of Health and Social Services has ruled out legalizing the commercial cultivation of cannabis for medical use in Namibia, citing the availability of effective existing treatments. The Minister of Health and Social Services, Dr. Kalumbi Shangula, said the country does not see the need to legalize cannabis for pain management as the current stock of medication delivered via intramuscular or intravenous is effective. We do not see the need to legalize marijuana as a way to manage pain at the present moment. We have adequate medication which can be administered intramuscularly or intravenously to act immediately. This comes after a directive from the Cabinet in 2022 tasked the ministry with investigating whether there was a demand for cannabis for medical use and the health risk associated with the use. This comes amid proposals of a commercial cultivation of cannabis for medical use. On the other hand, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa on Tuesday signed into law the Cannabis for Private Purposes Act, which legalizes the private use of cannabis. The legislation was signed into law, but dealing with cannabis remains prohibited. Moving over to our next story. Yandi Duplessis, a teacher at the Windhoek Afrikaans private school, invites all school learners who can write in Afrikaans to participate in the annual Walton's Griffel Creative Writing Competition. Any school learner from grade 5 until their final year can participate by writing their story or poem and stand a chance to win 1,500 Namibian dollars, 1,000 Namibian dollars, or 750 Namibian dollars for first, second, or third place. Submission closed by the 15th of August. Now we move over to our next story. The October 2015 Seafarers United Land and Housing Federation and its proposed housing development at Farm 37 were officially launched in Walvis Bay. Secretary General of the Federation, Thomas Munanga, shared that of its 690 fishermen have managed to save 3 million Namibian dollars for its Walvis Bay Fishermen Village at Farm 37. Local, regional, and central government have all pledged their support for the project at the event.
These fishermen, some of them were very creative, and some of them they did not remain lackadaisical. There are some forces and elements that try to weaponize the fishermen issue, but yet, through the initiative of the president of this federation, Mr. Neolitra, under the guidance of Honorable Richard Wyatt, they managed to realize this project, whereas the little that the fishermen used to earn, they managed to come up with a savings scheme. And through that savings scheme and the government employment-based program, the little that they used to earn, they managed to raise at least almost $3 million.
The Minister of Urban and Rural Development, Erastus Utoni, said that the ministry has revised its housing policy. He made these remarks in Walvis Bay at the launch of the Seafarers United Land and Housing Federation, as well as its housing initiative, Walvis Bay Fishermen Village launch. Have a look.
The housing policy that we have revised is to look at how speedily we can deliver land. more especially the service land. This policy is now to focus more on land servicing. Because what we have observed is that it's so expensive by local authorities to service land. Now, when a local authority services land, the land becomes so expensive. Now, the end users cannot afford to buy a plot. Therefore, central government said, no, we need to put in a lot of money to service land. And we have already requested local authorities to submit to us some extensions that are already planned, surveyed, and registered. Then the ministry can send money for that piece of land to be serviced. And then when a person is now identified in the list to occupy that earth, this person is no longer going to buy that earth on a higher price. It will be even might be less than 10,000 Namibian dollars. Less than that.
After the break, we return with our story of the day. Please do stay with us.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
In our story of the day tonight, Northerners on Saturday morning, this past Saturday, took part in the National Cancer Walk organized by the Cancer Association of Namibia in partnership with Pathcare and Oneuptwo Medipark to create awareness on the disease, which is one of the leading causes of death globally, both in developing and developed countries. Shanice Biga, laboratory manager for Pathcare Oneuptwo, said the first Northern Walk was a success and they will consider hosting it annually. The raised funds will be handed over to the Cancer Association of Namibia.
So yes, so we had 80 participants, which is fantastic. I think that's a brilliant success, especially because we're one of the teams that came on a bit later, but I think the community of Oneuptwo, Ondangwa and Oshakati really came together and we had a successful event. I just want to also just say thank you to all the sponsors. Medipark, obviously a great help. Oncology Center. We had the Delta Emergency Services. We had our local police force. So I'm just honestly so grateful because this is such a great cause. This is just about creating awareness for a lot of people that are affected by cancer. We've lost a lot of people, loved ones. Many people we know also have cancer, and it's just about metaphorically saying we support you, we are there for you. This walk, this journey that you're taking, we are there and we do think about you and we do care about you. And obviously all these funds go to the Cancer Association of Namibia. Please do follow them. They're a great organization and with great projects, and they will then distribute the funds to where they are needed. Thank you.
After the break, we return with our community talk.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
McHenry Venani speaks on the late Chief Dr. Kwaima Rirako at the Remembrance Day of the late Paramount Chief. This year marks the 10th anniversary of the late Paramount Chief's death. Have a look.
Chief Rirako was a selfless leader amongst our people, amongst our country. He has committed himself over a number of years to the struggle of genocide reparations, fighting for the repatriation of many of our Herero people from the diaspora coming back home, fighting for the independence of this country. He was honored with a state funeral because of the deeds that he has done. He was one of the first people to be sent and to be the leader of the group of 154 that were sent by Chief Hosea Kutako to go and start up a rebellion that was blocked at the OAU due to the recognition of SWAPO as the sole and authentic representative of the people of Namibia. But nevertheless, he pursued. He struggled over prisons. He was in prison in Zambia. He was in prison in Tanzania. He was taken to in Ghana, where he was nearly in prison, and then he took a long-standing role that he's played in this country, and therefore we will always pause and reflect on the ideals that he fought for.
After the break, we return with economic news.
Are you tired of just hanging around at home while waiting for something to do? Check out eticket.diary.my.na for what's hot on the social scene across the country. Or if you're arranging an event you'd like us to feature, contact Jareen at we.com.na. We can sell your tickets too.
In economic news tonight, Startup Blink, a platform analyzing over 150,000 startups quarterly, ranks Namibia 8th in Africa, surpassing Ghana and Tunisia, highlighting the country's growing startup ecosystem. On a global scale, Namibia ranked in 87th position. Startup Blink rankings system consider factors like traction, funding, and employee numbers to determine a company's SB score, revealing its position globally and within its specific ecosystem, region, industry, and sub-industry. According to the report, this marks the third consecutive year of growth, with the country having ascended a total of 12 places since its initial inclusion in the rankings in 2021. It is further reported that Windhoek has witnessed a significant surge in the global startup city, ranking 616th and jumping 35 spots. This propelled Windhoek into a competitive position, currently ranking within the top 700 startup cities worldwide. The only ranked city, Windhoek, surged by 35 spots to rank 616th, extending its positive trend over the last 3 years, totaling a climb of 240 spots within the global top 1,000, the report reads. Namibia's ranking is attributed to having a startup ecosystem that is considered to be a secure and stable environment, fostering entrepreneurship and innovation, according to the report. Windhoek's leading startups showcase a strong presence in key sectors. Paratus is a hardware and Internet of Things company which has successfully raised over 600 million Namibian dollars from its recent rights issue to expand its offering by enhancing its core system and infrastructure, and is ranked 71 in Africa. And now let's have a look at our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades for 23 Namibian dollars 85 cents to 1 British pound, 20 Namibian dollars 33 cents to 1 euro, 18 Namibian dollars 76 cents get you 1 US dollar, and 2 Namibian dollars 59 cents will get you 1 Chinese yuan. Three commodities have dropped, that is gold with 0.72%, copper with 0.57%, Brent crude oil with 0.76%, while platinum has increased with 0.93%. 5 southern African countries on Friday committed to expanding the use of the special common visa to allow easier movement of tourists in the region. After the break, we return with that story in our international news.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
In our international news tonight, 5 southern African countries on Friday committed to expanding the use of a special common visa to allow easier movement of tourists in the region as the region seeks to boost arrivals. Officials from Angola, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, countries that make up the Kavango-Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area, pledge in principle to broaden the use of the special visa called the Univisa, which allows entry into multiple countries. The Univisa is currently used in Zimbabwe and Zambia and covers day trips to Botswana through Kazongola. Regional leaders attending a Kaza Head of State Summit in Livingstone, Zambia, said they want the special visa extended to other states in the conservation area as well as Southern African Economic Bloc. We must simply say that this will happen, Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema said in his address. I'm grateful that my colleagues have reached a consensus on the Univisa. Botswanan Vice President Slama Tsongwane said his country would fully adopt the Univisa. Kaza member state also resolved to urge the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora to lift a ban on the trade of elephants and ivory. The 184-member intergovernmental regulates wildlife trade to protect certain species from overexploitation. It banned trade in Africa elephant ivory in 1989 after the animal population had declined sharply in the previous decade. Kaza says they hold $1 billion worth of ivory stockpiles, which they want to trade to fund the conservation programs. Now we move over to our next story. Gaza conflict mediators on Saturday urged Israeli and Hamas to finalize a ceasefire and hostage release deal outlined by the U.S. President Joe Biden that they said would bring immediate relief to people in Gaza and to the hostages and their families. Israel has said there will be no formal end of war as long as Hamas retains power, raising questions of timing and interpretation over the truce offer, which has been provisionally welcomed by the Palestinian faction. Biden said on Friday that Israel had proposed a deal involving an initial 6-week ceasefire with a partial Israeli military withdrawal and the release of some hostages, while a permanent end to hostility is negotiated through mediators. The U.S., Egypt, Qatar, have been seeking for months to mediate an end to the war, but a deal has proven elusive. The proposal, Biden said, also creates a better day after in Gaza without Hamas in power. He did not elaborate on how that might be achieved. The Iranian-backed Islamist group has given no indication it might step aside or disarm voluntarily. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said on Saturday any notion that Israel would agree on a permanent ceasefire before the destruction of Hamas military and governing capabilities was a non-starter. Two members of his coalition also threatened to withdraw from the government if he went ahead with a deal that ended the war without destroying Hamas. Hamas said on Friday it was ready to engage positively and in a constructive manner. But senior official Mohaud told Qatari television they had not yet received the details of the proposal. And now let's have a look at the weather predictions for tomorrow. Tsumeb can expect a minimum of 6 degrees, Otjowarongo minimum 0, while Omaruru can expect a minimum of 1 degree. Windhoek and Gobabis can expect a -1 minimum. Hentisbay can expect a maximum of 17 degrees, while Swakopmund and Ludretz are at 16 degrees. Rehoboth can expect a maximum of 15 degrees, as well as Mariental. Well, after the break, we return with sports news. Stay with us.
Are you tired of just hanging around at home while waiting for something to do? Check out eticket.diary.my.na for what's hot on the social scene across the country. Or if you're arranging an event you'd like us to feature, contact Jareen at we.com.na. We can sell your tickets too.
In our sports news tonight, American third seed Coco Gauff showed some second set resilience in a 6-6-4 victory over Ukrainian Diana Yastemeska on Friday to advance to the French Open fourth round and move a step closer to ending a 3-year clay court drought. The U.S. Open winner, who reached the final in Paris in 2022 and last won a title on the surface in 2021, was in solid form in the first set against Australian Open semi-finalist before struggling briefly in the second. She will next face Italy's world number 51 Elisabetta Cosciaretto. I played her in Madrid and she plays really well from behind, Gauff said. I knew closing the match would be difficult. I definitely could have closed it out on my serve in the previous game, she said. The last game, however, she hit 3 or 4 balls on the edge of the line. It was difficult to stay focused and not to get too mad, but I am glad I was able to push through. Moving over to our next story, thousands of supporters were gathering in central London on Saturday, the 1st of June, ahead of the UEFA Champions League final between Borussia Dortmund and Real Madrid. Supporters were enjoying the Champions League fan festival in Trafalgar Square, while Olympic Way outside Wembley Stadium was already teeming with thousands of people, with the 7 hours until 9 p.m. Now, Real Madrid reigned supreme with a victory of 2-0. Moving over to our next story, Novak Djokovic's bid for 25th Grand Slam briefly hung by the thread on a cold and damp Saturday night at Roland Garros, but the Serbian battled back for a 7-5, 6-7, 2-6 winner over Lorenzo Musetti in the latest ever French Open finish. The reigning champion showcased the iron will that has made him one of the game's greatest players to avoid defeat in a thrilling third round contest that got underway at 10:37 p.m. local time on Saturday. Some 4.5 hours later, at 3:06 a.m. on Sunday morning, the fans who had huddled up under the rugs as the 37-year-old orchestrated his superb fight back rose to their feet to lift the roof of the main show court. Well, and that has been the end of tonight's broadcast. We thank you very, very much for watching our show tonight. We will see you on Monday, same time, same place. Good night.